Hello.
We did it.
We did it.
It's been a long time.
It has been. I have an interesting topic.
What is it?
About. I wanted to.
Wait, we should. We're here at my work.
Oh yeah.
That's why things are
context cues.
Ex-Special Forces sniper turned entrepreneur. I've scaled numerous businesses to 8 figures. My name is Matt Ryder. This is my podcast, and I'm telling you to put that coffee down.
So instead of being in your purpose-built, beautiful recording studio where we control everything, we're here in my dog training facility.
Yep.
Where there's guys using a grinder outside. I've got a puppy here that I'm doing work with. There's banging and clanging.
Congratulations on the enormity of your success.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to one bit at a time.
Yeah.
So what's the topic?
I wanted to actually, because I thought this would work well for you as well. I actually wanted to talk to you about people who use not revulsion marketing tactics, but specifically trying to build a community around shit mouthing competition.
Yeah.
That would be huge in your industry.
It's massive.
Yeah.
There's in dogs, there's whole Facebook groups dedicated to that, like 30,000 people in the group.
Yeah.
And they kick out, I was in the group.
Yeah.
And just sort of peripherally aware of it.
Nice.
And then the moment that you have any sort of profile, you're out of the group so they can shitmouth you in the group.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from?
Pathetic people.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I was looking at it, right? Because we are usually what happens is the biggest will be the most common target, right? And I was trying to explain to Marco, because if Marco sees 20 people post shit about us or whatever, then it's well, we should fuck those people. It's the easiest way to unite people is to give them a common enemy, and the easiest common enemy is the biggest thing in front of you. So you might as well just do that. So for me, it actually makes perfect sense. And I can completely go, oh, that sweet, man. I've seen people recently that we have pretty good relationships with, a lot of their content is now look how much better I am than these people, or look how much better my stuff works than these people, right? And then there's a couple of Facebook groups where the moderators of their entire business model is predicated on shit mouthing whoever is quote unquote in power at the time, specifically in sales. It used to be Cole was the one that got shit mouthed, then it sort of transitioned to us, because Cole sort of does different stuff. He's not really a pure sales trainer anymore. He's more of a business coach and recruitment, right? Whereas we're sort of pure sales training. It's super interesting though, as to where those cottage industries come from, how they start, and then who does them.
Well, I think it's a bigger conversation around actually the human condition and tribalism. And people love that shit, in group, out group. And but you use that as a sales technique sometimes, right? To not other people, but you paint the picture of what success looks like for the person that will be the buyer.
Yeah.
And then you other the non-buyers.
Yeah.
Because it's such a successful strategy. And so you see it all the time as a business or sales technique, is to say, not only am I the best, but the others are bad, or not even just bad, but actually damaging. And if you follow anything they do, you'll ruin your, in my case, it's you'll ruin your dog if you have anything to do with that. It's totally fucked. If you even watch one of their reels, your dog will set on fire, right?
It's such a weird, I think it's because, for me, and this could totally be wrong, but the industry that I'm in is incredibly young. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of very young people, and relatively, I think, life inexperienced. Mm-hmm. Haven't gone through particular hardships, and I think, I see it as a symptom of youth. That's, or whether it's youth in business or youth in life, whatever it may be. That's what I see it as, because I see it as a pure, I can't think of a worse thing to do. Because if you are genuinely good at what you do, and if you have a following, even mentioning people builds credence.
Yeah.
We have built more, I think I single-handedly have built more competitors than I could even fucking think of.
Yeah.
Half the people,
Like trained people.
yeah, trained people, and then half the people, like literally, man, like if I haven't one-on-one sales coached that many people because I don't really like to do it, I would say 60% become sales coaches.
Okay.
Like it's a high number,
Yeah.
right? And like I think more power to it. Like I have no problem with it, to be honest. Like I don't like it when staff, if they like steal from us, like that's one thing that's happened in the past, but like whatever. But like the strategy I take is like if someone, for example, like if someone is a direct competitor, and if they're good and if they're like moral and if they do things in a good way, then I'll always say like, oh yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
If they're like nefarious and I don't like the way they operate, I just vacuum them. Like they don't exist. No oxygen will be given. I remember we were going through a thing a while ago where someone like stole clients, stole leads. It was a whole thing, right? It was a sales rep we had. I had to let them go. Anyway, it became a whole thing. And then one of our sales reps engaged with them and it became a whole thing. And so like they were like, oh, we should do this, this, and this. And I was like, no, we're just make a vacuum. Because if that's a fire, like just suck the oxygen out.
Yeah.
And so like my line, whenever anybody asks me, if there's like a group of say like 8 people, is, oh, sorry, like I've just never heard of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's always my line
Yeah.
that I say no matter what.
Yeah.
Because like I just think like just don't give credence to it.
Yeah.
But also like I don't wish those people any ill will because like they have kids, they have families. Like there's so many people in the world.
Yeah. I think what's interesting though,
you can't train them all.
yeah, but so for people like you and I, see like in dog stay, for example, I've only been at this properly since 2008 is when I really got interested in it. I got out of the army in 2015 and then it actually became a job. And so like I've been less than 10 years of doing this actually as a job, and social media has been around almost that entire time. But there's people now who are professionals, like competitors, I suppose, to me, that we can see because of the access to social media have been at this like 2 or 3 years. And it's the same in your space. Like Jeremy is an interesting example. There's so many parallels between Jeremy and Bart. It's crazy, right? And even yours and mine's associations with them.
Yeah.
But when Jeremy was selling and like actually selling door to door, all the various things he said, there's no social media. There's no industry of like sales guys comparing anything beyond conventions and like in-person things.
Yeah.
And at in-person things, you can get your fucking head punched in.
Yeah.
So people
People are less like
people tend to be much more respectful of each other in person because there's real world consequences to real world conversations, right?
Yeah.
But online you can kind of say whatever you want. And I think that there's so many people who have never actually, first of all, they're new to it, and we can see that. We can see their journey from shit to good because you can just scroll back.
Yeah.
You can scroll all the way to the bottom of the feed and find like that they use. And that's the other thing that I think is interesting. You see people when you do scroll to the bottom of the feed and see their page used to be like you're selling, it's a fitness guy now, and you can see that he used to be a t-shirt guy, like on that same account way back. And because that's what people got to figure out what's happening as they're going into it. Exactly, right? Like
Instagram used to be.
There's heaps of that, but like the real true people who are the people you see who are just like, oh, whatever, I don't care, is because they're not paying attention to that social media nonsense.
Yeah.
Because when they were learning in their craft and getting good at their craft, there wasn't a social media to be on.
Yeah.
So they're just like, who cares what people say on social media? I'm going to keep ticking these goals and making forward success. But in the social media world, you have to be all about battles on social media. And I think the other thing that sort of pisses me off is that a lot, the frenemy thing, right?
Yeah.
So there are people who, like, I suppose they probably don't like each other, but they know that by having a public and online argument, they're boosting each other's following.
Yeah.
And will do that on purpose. And that has become something of status quo. I've seen quite a lot of that where people are like, oh no, like, we're meant to have giant arguments with people. Fuck him. Like, we'll have this giant argument, but what that serves us both great. And we have differing opinions. So our huge public-facing argument of shit-mouthing each other actually helps us both. And that's an odd cultural phenomenon that you and I aren't really aware of.
Well, I think actually we probably were, though, because one of the things about special forces is if you're not good at your job, you are hated.
It's an oddly catty environment. Hey?
Like, man, that is brutal.
Yeah.
Like if someone was considered just not good, no matter how nice of a person, how good of a dad, they were looked at as such a fucking liability that it was like, fuck you and everything you are as a human. We're going to ostracise you and hopefully get you to quit. We won't have a frank and honest conversation about your lack of skill set and how that's potentially dangerous.
We'll bully you.
Just bully you until you quit. And I see that, like, and I really didn't like that. Like, I got old. As I was in it, I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, fair enough. But as I retrospectively, when I got out, I was like, oh, I think that's kind of shitty. And then like I see it in like the sales training, I see it in every industry, but the sales training industry, like I see that. And like, I look at it and go like, I don't care how you sell. I don't give a fuck. And like, first of all, to say that my way is ineffective is fucking ridiculous, because like we're very effective. Proof by how much money we make. Right? But it doesn't mean that your way isn't effective and that I fucking am going to shitmouth you. That's why like I don't ever want to do it. And I was in the shower the other day thinking about it, because all these like stories came up and I was like, huh. And I was like, you know, I've never seen do it. The people who are killing it. And that was really like the thing. And I was thinking about like, oh, well, Taylor Welch, I'm actually flying. He ran Sales Mentor. I'm actually flying to do a podcast with him in August in Nashville.
Oh, cool.
I messaged him on Instagram. I was like, hey, but he's like, fuck yeah, stuff. So I'm flying out there. But I've never seen him do it. I've never seen Cole do it. We've certainly never done it because like I won't allow it on any level. I've never even seen Cardone or Belfort do it. I've seen them argue, but on a podcast in person. I'm cool with that. But they've never like shit-mouthed each other's methods or say they couldn't sell. But what I have seen is a bunch of fucking people that are down here looking up in terms of like status and revenue and business size, just like creating entire businesses based on the shit-mouthing of other people. And I was like, I get it, because that is probably the fastest way to build a community is to build it on negativity, hatred, whatever it is, right? Because like we sign up 2,500 people a month. I'm guaranteed to piss off 25 of them. 1%, right? I'm guaranteed. So that's 25 people per month, every month for 3 interviews that you make, right? So I've made, you know, how many hundreds or thousands of enemies or whatever. And so like that's an easy community to scoop up. But like, I just think, to what end? Because like I just don't understand, like, where does that go?
I struggle with that a little bit. Like, honestly, I know I've said this before, but I think that's your superpower, is not giving a fuck what people say about you, especially online in the comments and stuff like that. Like, when I was running your Instagram, I would, like, even though they're not saying shit about me, it's you they're saying shit about. I got the fucking notifications, and I'm like, I feel my neck twitch like this.
Screenshot.
Check out this guy. But then I start following down the rabbit hole because I want to know, right? So like, I always start like, who are you and why would you say that? Because I think to myself, what kind of fucking pathetic loser would comment that? Like, because I've seen plenty of things come up in my feed that I'm like, whoa, like I don't like, I don't agree with. I think is nonsense. I think is bullshit.
Yeah, that's bad. You should see the Jeremy ad.
Yeah, I bet. I
screenshot it every now and then and go, this is a go on.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
But the amount of times that I would see something come up on you and I would follow down the rabbit hole, right? And it was ads a fair bit.
Yeah.
But they would always be losers that are trying to achieve what you have achieved. Every time. Like to the letter, every single one of them are people who, they never, like, it takes some investigating. It's never obvious. They'll comment from an account, but that's be linked to an account, and you know, you follow the bouncing ball. You find that you eventually get to the point like they're a sales trainer or they're a marketing guy, and they've got 42 followers, and they're posting every day just nonsense, and they get zero traction. And so when you look at it, you go, oh well, in reality, they're actually just pathetic losers. And they're upset and they're lashing out, and that's the mechanism by which they can do it. Because if they tried to reach you directly, you just wouldn't be able to. Right? But
or worst case, they get on a podcast for them.
But
like,
what
actually have a
but
chat.
I remember every time I showed you any of those, like, because some of them were pretty rough, right? And I'd be like, do you know this guy? And in instances where you did, you would laugh every time.
Yeah.
You'd be like, ah, look at that loser. They're like, okay. Now, the reason I have to follow that bouncing ball is because I have to talk myself into that. Now, I get there eventually. I eventually get to the point of like, look at that loser, but I have to make sure they are one. I have to go through and find...
What if they're not?
Yeah. Well, I'm like, oh no, someone successful is going after me. What am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
But it's, as you say, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But like, I'll follow that, and then I have to go, oh no, this is a person who's, you know, been unsuccessful and is unhappy with their life and probably goes home to their kids that hate them and bashes their wife. And,
Yeah.
like, I just have to make up
He's
this
created a really dark narrative.
I do. I have to correct
The only way they could
I have to correct that.
Mom, you love me, right?
And then I'm like, okay, it's fine. They can say what they need to say, right? Everything's okay. But you don't get that. And so I think you become a bit of a magnet for that. Like, I would say that seventh level and everything becomes a bit of a magnet for that hatred because it doesn't stick and people get confused by that. I would bet you that people are like, why aren't they biting? What's happening here? Like, why am I not getting the feedback? And, you know, fuck, I'm a professional behavior modifier.
Yeah.
Behaviors that go unreinforced go extinct. And that's the thing. But the precursor to extinction is an extinction burst. So, yeah, like, it's a very fancy way of saying that, but it has to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
So you think...
Wow.
Well, that's it. When, like, the response to a thing that has been, like, a behavior that's been reinforced in the past, that's suddenly unreinforced, the response to that is to try harder. You imagine you flick a light switch, turns the light on, right? You flick a light switch and it doesn't turn on. What do? You flick the switch 3 or 4 times because you're like, the fuck, this always works. And so that's what would happen quite a bit when you see people come after you online or make stupid comments or say stupid things and you don't fire back. That's when they're like, but...
That wasn't fun.
But was like... I have to double down on this. I have to try this 5 or 6 times. And then eventually it goes extinct and they're like, oh, I'm not getting any traction. This isn't going the way I imagined it would go. Suddenly I'm like, oh, well, fuck, I guess I'll just stop.
Yeah, and that's like my mentality is always like, because even like I won't even send like cease and desists. Like to certain, like I know certain people are ripping some of our stuff off Hollis Bowlers, which we have, but it's like the screenshot of the cease and desist would give them more credibility than anything they could ever do. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, well, no, like if we just vacuum this thing and then I talk to all the staff and go like, hey, like you are not to engage personally, professionally, under no circumstances. Like these things do not exist in the realm of which we're doing because there's nothing productive that can come from engaging in this fucking foolishness. And it is like shocking how fast things just disappear.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, then they can start infighting. So now, like 2 of the major guys who I would say probably spread the most amount of like negativity towards us are going after each other.
Yeah. You will say that.
And I didn't know that. I was only told that like the other day because like I don't follow anything. I don't look at Facebook. I don't even really look at Instagram. I look at YouTube, but like people aren't fighting on YouTube. Unless you're in the comments, but like, I don't read the comments. Yeah. So I just watch videos about woodworking. And one day when I retire, I'll start woodworking again. But yeah, it's super interesting. Like, it's just I think because I had that experience in the military where I saw like, I was like, oh, these are like some really good guys here that are just being treated terribly. Yeah. And I get it because like that's an extreme example because they're dangerously liable. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like somewhere like, I won't say anyone's name, but some of the guys that were just like great guys, but just horrific. Yeah. You know, like they just slipped through the cracks. Yeah. And you're like, oh man. But like they're great dudes. Yeah. Really, really nice. But you just hate them because you don't want to go overseas with them because they'll get you killed. Yeah. But having that come into like something as silly as sales, like, I mean, it's just silly. Yeah. Like we just teach people how to say things that hopefully get them money. Yeah. That's as far as it goes. And so like to not like someone or to like put it out there that they are some way doing damage or a bad person or shit or fucking idiots and all this kind of stuff because you say different things on a sales call is so fucking outrageously stupid. Like I again, and this is a little bit hearsay, but like these 2 people who are fighting at each other, like I did see some of it, and it was like basically this guy, there's a prospect, had a sales call with guy A and guy B, and then the guy went with guy B, and so guy A sent the prospect all these abusive messages saying like, you're a fucking idiot, you're ruining your sales career, these guys are fucking morons, they have no idea what they're talking about, right? And then obviously the guy who bought sent it to guy B because he's like, well, have a look. So then he posts that up, obviously like looking for the fight, I would have gone like, I got the win, I have the money, right? Like, I win. That's enough for me. But anyway, try and build it out. And then from there, they're just going back and forth. And like literally, like these are two people, I know at least one of them has kids. I think both of them do, potentially. But like they're like adult grown men arguing over like how you say things.
Yeah.
Not even like, it's just how you say stuff.
But do you think that indicates the value of each individual sale for them? Like,
That's a good point.
Like,
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah. To
care.
Like, because you guys sign up 2,500 people a month. If it's 2,499,
It doesn't make a difference.
I
hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be it, right? Of like, no, I needed that.
I don't even know how many sales we do.
Yeah, right.
Like I get a report, or if it's like we do about 2,500 total sales, and about a good chunk of them were info products, or SLO. And then we do anywhere from, I think it's like, we do about 20 coaching sales a day, like coaching sales. So 20 a day. So 7 days a week, 140, say 150. So about 600 a month, roughly, like 500 to 600 a month of coaching. Like, so 2.0 and above. But like, I only get told when it's a good day.
Right.
Like they'll go, oh, we did 28 today. Oh, fuck, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I don't look at the sales. That's not my job.
Yeah.
Like I run the strategy.
Yeah.
And I run all the background, really boring shit that nobody wants to.
Yeah.
Compliance and legal shit.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't even fucking know. Someone goes like, oh, what's the sales process? So I was like, oh fuck, I don't know anymore. I don't know if we do triages. I don't know if we're just going straight to sale.
That's someone else.
I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck. Right. And also like, if we have a good day, great. If we have a bad day, that's fine. Tomorrow probably a good day.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know the people who buy.
Yeah.
I hope they do really well.
Well, I think that's probably a big piece of it then, right? Because if an individual person decided to go with another, if these two guys that you're talking about, I have no idea who they are. But these two guys, if you add you into the mix of that, and now there's three, and someone's trying to choose between 3 products instead of 2, and they go with one of the others, you wouldn't even be aware that they went with the other.
No.
Like, you'd just be like, oh, we didn't close that sale. Like, that would just go into the, like...
And we close at 35%.
Pretty consistently.
So, like, there's 65% of people saying no.
Yeah. And you're not following up, who the fuck did you go with?
Yeah.
Where did you piece of shit? You destroyed it. Like,
You hate your wife? What are you...
when the call ends, the call ends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, like, we have our follow-up processes, and we have all that. We're actually bringing in a complete lost revenue department, because this is actually interesting. We have more calls than we can handle. Like, so, but it's to the point where it's actually become kind of a problem. So we figured out that, like, so we were trying to like bang our heads at how do we get the sales guy to do referrals and follow-ups. And then we've actually figured out it's actually detrimental. So for our business right now, if our guys are doing all their own follow-ups, all their own referrals, all their own like upsells, resales, and renewals, all that kind of stuff, like we actually lose a significant amount of money.
How come? Just because they should be doing something else?
No, because like, so basically we can only book out 4 to 5 days in advance. Otherwise the no-show rate goes to like 70%. So our calendars are we have 21 sales reps full-time, right? And then we have SDRs as well, but those are the closers. Because there are so many people hitting the booking page that if every hour is not available, they bounce off. And then that increases the cost that we pay per call. Right? So if someone goes on holiday, our calls go up by about $30 a call. Right. Which is significant when you're booking thousands of calls.
Yeah.
So what we realize is that, oh shit, we actually can't afford to have our sales reps ask for referrals.
That's wild.
It's a really odd, like it's so different than any other problem we've had. It took us a while to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we've done is we're creating a complete so that we're now dividing the sales team and the new car sales department into front end and back end. So the front end will only handle new inquiries. Then they'll be handed over to a completely different team, which is like essentially like the profit team. That's the renewals, the upsells, the cross sells, the follow-ups from no sales, the referrals, all that kind of shit. So there'll be an entire department for that.
Yeah, right.
And then they'll just do all that.
And so that's something that came in at scale, right? Like you.
Oh yeah, like I've never even heard of someone having that problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, and like we could lower ad spend, but it doesn't actually benefit us because, like we don't spend as much as most anyway. To make say $3 million, we have to spend about $400,000 to $500,000 a month,
Right.
which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of our competitors who would be or somewhat competitors at similar levels are spending double.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so
And
like
making as much.
or making say similar. Like you know, like I would say, Cole is definitely a competitor of ours. We have very different business models, but we're still like competitors in that space.
Yeah.
And I think he spends a lot more on ads than what we do, but he also has a much higher end back end subscription, right? So, but and then like the business coaching product, which we don't have. We don't really have anything that's super expensive. We have like 18K. That's about it.
Right.
We don't have the 35,000.
And he has that.
Yeah, so he has like the business side of the business coaching side of it. So like they use like their, and I could be wrong, but they use their like sales coaching as a way to get recruits in, because as part of their business coaching package, they offer recruitment. So like, but they're getting these guys in and charging them for sales training.
Right.
A lot of it's like biz ops. So it's like, hey, are you sick of working a 9 to 5? You want to come in and make 10K a month, whatever, from your living room, right? Stop being a truck driver. Teach them how to sell, place them in a business, right? So they kind of so they had to spend a lot of money on that side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it's sort of a lot less money on this side, but that's like where all the long-term money is. So anyway, but like we don't spend a ton on advertising compared to a lot. We also like have a lot of insight because of Sales Sniper into how much money businesses spend to get certain revenues, like coaching businesses, and we're down the bottom.
Right.
Spend. Like we haven't even spent enough on Facebook yet to have a rep.
Right. Okay.
Like,
And yet the conversion is.
yeah, because we don't need to.
Yeah.
Like we're $3 million away from being able to apply for a rep.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to spend 10 million on Facebook before you can apply for a rep.
10 million total?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So yeah, or if you like spend, I think over $1 million a month, they'll talk to you.
Right.
But we're nowhere near it.
Yeah.
You know?
No need.
There's just no need, because if we did, I mean, fuck, we need 60 sales reps.
Hey, here's a question for you on all this. So this is certainly the case in my industry, or I think it to be the case in my industry, but I could be wrong. I wonder if it is in sales as well, is that the way that social media has changed has caused a lot of infighting, but especially in newer people. So Facebook groups used to be groups of like-minded people who would go to a place to have a conversation. And you used to have real conversations, right?
Yeah.
So there would be like of balanced dog trainers, there would be a group of balanced dog trainers in there. And there'd be the odd pitch for a seminar, or, you know, a new piece of equipment comes out and people say, hey, this is in here or whatever. But for the most part, it really was a for your information page managed by...
More of the town square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people would have arguments, but they would usually remain fairly civil. Of course, they would divulge into madness sometimes, but for the most part, people would actually have conversations that reached a conclusion. And now what I see is Facebook's kind of dying. I'm starting to think that Facebook might go away.
Or will be bought.
Yeah.
They're bringing out, what are they bringing out? Thread?
As an
That's
it's the
Twitter
new
compare?
Twitter ripoff. But like the problem is, like, they've put so much money, different conversation, but they've put so much money into the fucking metaverse that is a clear failure.
Yeah.
And poor Zuckerberg's been trying to get his stupid Oculus fucking thing going. And he's just been blown out of the water. Like, they're like, look, we're on Gen 3 and it's starting to be kind of okay.
Yeah.
And Apple's like, here's our Gen 1 product. Yeah, here's our Gen 1 product and it's fucking incredible. Like, it's classic Apple. They're always late, but by the time they come in, it's
done.
Way better.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think Facebook's in trouble. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But now, especially younger people, they're not on Facebook, right? Like they're, you know.
We got the demographics, man.
Yeah.
Like Instagram's crushing it now. Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram is crushing.
But so in the dog space, TikTok has gone wild, right?
I mean, TikTok's the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no conversations in TikTok because
No.
And Instagram's the same. Like if someone because I tried to have a conversation with someone in the comments on Instagram recently, and you can't. The UI is fucking terrible. You can't do it. And TikTok's the same. And so what people end up doing is it's like you take a shot off the bow in a video, and then I take a shot off the bow in a video, and that's the only way that conversations can happen, right? But the problem with those sorts of conversations is they're happening publicly in front of our clients and customers. Whereas what would happen in an industry closed group, we could have a real conversation. And if I saw your point of view, I could concede defeat. And people used to do that. People would be like, oh, right, no, you've convinced me. I'm on your side now. Thank you for this conversation.
Yeah.
Because it would only be your peers that would see that conversation. Whereas now, if those conversations are happening in short form video and they're back and forth and you see people replying to comments in that kind of way, your pride's on the line, and but also your credibility to your customers, clients, and all your followers is on the line. And that's why I see people just doubling down on nonsense.
I think it's like the dilemma of the black belt who owns the studio should probably never fight in front of his own students.
Yeah.
Like that's just a bad idea.
Well, mixed feelings on that.
Unless you're a fucking savage.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But you should be if that's your job.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why I've always tried to take, like, my thought process. I remember when I was, like, trying to figure out, like, how am I going to be known and how do I set this thing up? I was like, oh, I'll just do everything no one else is willing to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I'll sell live.
Yeah.
I will objection handle live.
Yeah.
I remember I did the fucking, all these things I think I've done in business was when we had like 4,000 people in a masterclass. And I said, I'll go away. You guys nominate someone to be the prospect, decide what objections you want him to give me, and I'll handle it. And dude, they fucking threw the kitchen sink at it. And it was like, I remember walking back into the room going like, I may have made a very tactical mistake here. But then I just kind of got into it and I sold it. And like, that was like, oh, dude knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He can do it.
Yeah.
That's why I've released like live sales calls. Like, it was like, I'll just do like, here's everything. I'm not bad at this. You guys can pick.
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
You got to hit the field. That's why, like in my industry, like I'm not the world champion, but I compete and I show like, hey, this is how I go. Like this is how I do it.
Yeah.
This is the results. I'm not winning the world championship, but I'm all right. Like you can see it.
And I tell people like when I train them, because I've stopped developing in sales. Like if anything, I'm getting worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I think my ability to articulate what I'm doing is much better, but my ability to do more lateral stuff in real time is probably worse.
Yeah. Yeah. We got deeper and stopped spreading. Yeah.
Yeah. So because like there's now no benefit to me getting any better.
Yeah.
I know that, like I know enough about sales to be I'm good. Jeremy is constantly developing because like he's the product guy, so he has to keep adding and taking from things and figuring stuff out. But I tell people like when I coach them, I'm like I'm not going to talk about stuff that I can't teach you. And we actually have I was speaking with like one of the coaches, and they were giving like cold calling advice. They were asking me, I was like, you've never cold called? They're like, yeah. And I was like, no, dude, you got to learn. Like, there is nothing wrong as a coach with going, that's not my wheelhouse. Because we have guys whose wheelhouse that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you don't have to pretend to be good at everything.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of like why we built like our coaching the way that we did was like, if someone goes like, hey, when I'm door knocking this, I go, well, time out. I've never done that. I'm definitely not the guy to ask. I will give you the insight that I can give you from like the sales knowledge that I have, but that's like, I'm not the guy. Go to Joe. He's got a session tomorrow. Guy makes 150 grand a month door knocking. Probably the guy to ask.
Yeah.
But if you want my answer, like I'll give it to you. Just know that it's probably shit. And they go, oh, okay. Like that makes sense. I appreciate that. And I think if you can do that,
yeah,
like for your clients, and then just create an environment where there's tons. That's where like I don't get like how a lot of these sales coaches, like, I don't get how they do it, because like I've always had the luxury of going, just, I don't know, man, ask Jeremy. Right? Jeremy's cold called, he's door knocked, he's done inbound, he's done outbound, he's done B2B, B2C, enterprise level sales, one-on-one sales, coaching, like debt relief services for large companies, and like everything in between. So like he's done it successfully.
Yeah.
He's 46.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're a 25-year-old sales trainer. Like, what have you sold?
Yeah.
I haven't done shit at 25.
Well, but a lot of it's fake. You reminded me, this friend of mine, Jay Jack, he's a big name in dogs, but he actually was one of the first ever like black belts in America. I shouldn't say that, but he's a very old black belt.
You show me him before. Yeah.
It was an early cage fighter, like pre-UFC, right?
Yeah.
And he was one of the first jiu-jitsu black belts. And how he even got into jiu-jitsu is super interesting. He had his own gym, like was teaching all kinds of karate and all things that he was into, and then got put to sleep in front of his own students by a jiu-jitsu guy.
I must learn.
And was like, no, something's not right here. Like let's go again. Like, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
And the guy just kept him on the edge of consciousness. Because Jay, like, he doesn't tap. He
blackout until you tap out.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah. I agree with that.
This guy just kept him on the edge of consciousness in front of his own students for a long time. And then Jay's like, what magic is that? He goes, oh, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's like, okay, and shut his own gym. Like, looks at all his own students and goes, we're done here. I don't know shit.
So awesome.
This guy just beat me.
So
we're done. But then, so when he was one of the early black belts, his job was to do all those challenge fights, right? Because when Jiu-Jitsu was new and people, like, all the fake karate nonsense was really at its peak.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu came in and was like, no, we can really fuck you up, right? And we'll take you on right now because we probably won't even need to hurt you, right?
Yeah.
Like
I can do it gently.
You'll just go to sleep and then we'll realize that I beat you.
Yeah.
So he had to do all these challenge fights. And they had this guy in his gym. Now, I'm butchering his story. He's told it on a couple of different podcasts, but it's fucking incredible. Where this guy, like, does some, like, I would have broken your leg. And he's like, no, we're really fighting. Like you have to actually break my leg. And he stopped, right? And then the guy does one of the moves and, like, gets a, like, flick in Jay's eye. And he goes, that's it. I would have gouged your eye out. I could have taken your eye. And he's like, for starters, you couldn't have. But even if you could have, do you think the fight ends when my eye comes out? And the guy's like, yeah, you're dead. Like, you lose your eye. And he like cracks it. And he gets in front of all these other guys. He's like, sweet, lock the fucking door. Locks the door, hands the guy a spoon. He goes, these two guys are going to hold me down and you're going to gouge my fucking eye out with a spoon. But that door's locked.
And let's see what.
And now we're having a real fight, right? Because if you think
I wouldn't be like, all right, man.
He's like, no, I didn't fight this. And he's like, no, if you think the fight ends just because you flicked me in the eye, even if you take my eye out, I'm going to show you. So these guys are going to hold me down, you're going to gouge my eye out, and then we're going to fight. And
can you imagine though if he met someone the equal level of credit? You can go and say, okay, and then he starts to go, don't do it.
Dude, he would have done it. Like,
he just smiled. And then told the story the rest of it.
Without a shadow of a doubt, he would have done it. He would have been like,
funny.
Here we go, we're going out, right?
Yeah.
But it's that being prepared to actually do it live and put it on show and fail and be like, oh, fuck, you are better than me, we did.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a good
do you know why I realized, hey, buddy,
I just realized.
Hang on a second. No one's paid me attention for a while.
It's been 40 minutes.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
I actually realized when it was okay to, like, I realized that, I stopped being scared of doing that when I realized you can do everything perfectly and still not make the sale. Like, so whether the outcome is a sale or not is not actually a reflection of how good you are, because there are just some people that you just can't buy. Brian Tracy, I was watching a really old, Brian Tracy is like an old sales guru. Very, very good, really, really switched on dude. And I was watching an old sales training from him that we have in our archives because him and Jeremy did a masterclass years ago, way before I knew Jeremy. And Brian Tracy was like, you cannot, like, determine the outcome. All you can do is all the activities, but, like, you can't set sales goals because, like, you can't control that. All you can do is control all the activities. And so, like, I realized that a few years ago, and I was like, as soon as I figured that out, I was like, oh, well, there's nothing I can say or do that will actually make the person do anything. So all I can do is, like, if I do these things it's like more than likely that they decide to go, but like whatever. So like, and I remember when I was like starting Sales Sniper, every single call I did was recorded. And so I would give the guys calls that didn't buy. They're like, oh, the guy didn't buy. I was like, yeah, but like that was a perfect call. If I do that, then it's a sale 5 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But like 5 times out of 10 if I do it perfectly. So if you don't do it perfectly, it's 4. And then you go down, it's 3. And then you go down, it's 2. And then you go down, it's 1. But if I do it, I can't do it more perfectly, and it's not going to be a 6. It's going to be a 5.
Yeah.
So like, let's be happy.
Yeah.
And someone was like,
if for some reason it is 6 out of 10 this week, it's 4 out of 10 next
it's just luck.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then someone's just watched enough content to be like, whatever you throw at me, I'm doing. You know, and that's why you do podcasts, like to get the laydown.
I just wanted to go through this process with you.
Like I've had people that like have like literally done our training and like they just like wanted coaching from me. I was like, but you sort of have done it all. They're like, yeah, I just want to hear it from you. I was like, listen, man, if you're going to pay me $30,000 to just hear me tell you the same shit again, I'll take your money. Right? Right? But fuck you, like whatever, you know? But yeah, it's as soon as I realized that, like everything became so much easier because and also like the funny thing was like people were like, how do you like handle the rejection of sales? And I'm like, well, if your closing rate's 30%, that's pretty good. Like that's a solid closing rate. And you're shocked when 7 out of 10 people say no. I go, that seems really stupid. Like being shocked at the inevitability. Like you, if you got angry if you got bit by a dog.
This will probably just nail me so badly. So badly.
Yeah.
Like sustained bite on the arm.
And because you're dealing with a Richard Malley, right?
Yeah.
You're dealing with a puppy dog, and that dog is bred to bite people.
Yeah.
If you were upset of the fact that a dog bit you, you're in the wrong game.
I just laughed and was very happy that the camera was rolling. And I'm going to make a reel out of it later tonight.
And it's going to get 1 billion views. Is your most viewed one still the one of that?
My dog doing nothing.
Yeah.
He's sitting there. I got a new camera, that camera. The dog's sitting there doing nothing, and I just zoomed in on him, and then got a video of him upside down and zoomed out of that, and a couple of 100,000 views. Jazz had one of the 2 dogs. She's done it with the 2 shepherds prior that didn't get that much traction, and she just had one with the 2 dogs standing in the van, and they both just look like that, and then jump out, right? But it's to the sound of like, the fuck is this guy running from? Oh, wait, he's running from us. And then they chase after him. 1.4 million views.
Wow.
Got 10,000 new followers. Overtook me in followers. From this one fucking reel.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well,
makes you wonder.
Man, I reckon people fight because it brings traction and also they're extremely insecure in and of themselves.
Yeah. And, you know, I hope they do good.
Yeah, good for them.
There's tons of people to sell.
Yeah. I think, you know what?
The more of the story is, guys, I don't care. I just like, I wish everyone the best. And I hope that if we get a chance to meet like a ClickFunnels, I'll just tell you, like, there is literally nothing anyone can say to me that will make me care. And
fair enough. You know, our next topic should be, don't be the best, be the only. That's an interesting thing that I've been trying to push for recently. Okay. Not having competitors. Why try and be the best in your field if you can be the only in your field?
Yeah, I mean, niche yourself down so much, right, that you get the world championship.
I only do podcasts when Puppy Malinois causing problems in the background. It will be the most successful podcast with Puppy Malinois fighting in the background.
It's like winning the Super Bowl, being the world champions. You're the only country that plays it, bro.
It was called the World Series. It was the baseball was called the World Series.
Yeah, but it's only American teams.
No, but it was named after a newspaper called The World.
Oh,
that's how it came to be. Yeah,
we should do that.
Yeah,
start our own publication. World champion, official world.
Yes, the world
recognized by officialworldchampions.com.
All right, that's it. Coffees for closers, kind of in the dog training facility. If you like us doing these, let us know. We haven't actually done one in ages. What have you been releasing? Old stuff?
Well, I did a couple of walk and talks. Did a couple of like, just like me ranting to a camera, like Bill Burr style.
Yeah.
Like, you know, really grinds my gears. Just like angrily talking about things.
I love it. We should do that.
Yeah.
We need to do the one wheel one like we planned to. We could just do it back and forth.
I think we should do it in a nice spot.
Around it. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, mine arrives. Mine got on the boat today. So it's on its way over.
Yeah, I'll like get one of those ones off Amazon. They just fill with water.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just
I've got one of those.
We'll just sit in next to each other.
I've got one of those at home.
And just see who gives up first.
It'll be me without a doubt.
I did 13 minutes.
You're a seasoned professional.
Hey, I do it every day. All right, guys.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Where's the light red?
Put that coffee down.